I think we got so much happy going here, you can't hide it, or you couldn't even pretend like you weren't happy. All right. You know, I was taught growing up, I guess, that God honored effort. But I've learned better. I think God honors hunger. And there's a lot of hunger in this room, and I'm just honored to be part of this. And I appreciate y'all and your hunger. This is awesome. This is awesome. And I'm just tickled to be here. So I've said all I know to say about this guy, and I just turn him loose again. Is anybody thankful? This is our last second time he's been here. I think we're just going to make it annual.
Yeah.
Just kidding, kinda.
Or not.
I don't want to say. Just come on, brother. Just do what you do. Yeah. Appreciate it so much. You know, it helps for me. I know God's our Father and He's our teacher, and we're going after that. But it sure makes it a lot easier and better when you can actually see somebody, a physical, tangible, somebody out in front of you. And this guy right here, I'm telling you, I'm sorry. Of anybody that I've met so far, and anybody that I've known and seen and got the chance to draw from and be this guy walks as close to the life of a son of God as anybody that I've seen so far, and it makes me hungrier, and it drives me on, and makes me want to go for more. And so I don't know how you could even put a price on that or describe that. So I know y'all are in the same place, so let's just, man, thank you. Dan Mohler, huh?
I think you all are determined to make me cry every time I come up here. Your sister come over and share me a testimony. I just burst out in tears, didn't I? I said, now you're messing me up. Stop. I preach soon. Wow. No, when he's talking like that, it's very humbling, because what he's saying is every one of us privilege. Every one of us can walk in Him and live in Him. Please don't let life deceive you. Please don't let life speak louder than truth. I promise you, one day we're all going to stand before Him. Yes. And I'm not saying that in a judgment way, in a fear way. It's a faith way. You've got to believe that every day is a day closer to that day you'll stand before Him. Life is a wisp and a vapor, man. Things are flying. Guard your heart, because out of your heart flows the issues of life. You don't let things get in your heart that don't produce life. You don't harbor things. You don't hold on to things. You don't let sorrow overtake you, anger overtake you, frustration overtake you. Why? Because life never ends in Him. Come on, it's time to believe.
Yes.
If you're living for this moment will decide your next moment. But if you're living for His glory and His great name, you are set. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Come on, so many of us, even Christians, I mean good Christians that love the Lord and believe He died on that cross and forgave them of their sin, they get trapped living for the moment. They put all their emphasis on now. Look, if now doesn't work out like you were hoping, He hasn't changed. The truth about your life hasn't changed. You have the same impact, same influence, same access to grace, and can still live by the Spirit.
Yes.
So if you let today's happening decide you today, you're going to miss what you're here for. And time's going to skate by, and you're going to stand before Him and go, oops. Don't do that. You don't want no oops. You want to be ready to stand before Him. I spoke it, I think, Friday night. It's 1 John 4:17. Love is perfected in this, because we have boldness in that day. Guys, we can have boldness in that day. Why? Because we guarded our heart. We stewarded our hearts. We didn't draw back. We didn't grow weary in doing good. We didn't let what people did and said decide who we are and how we are. We didn't get caught up in life. We got caught up with the giver of it. And we lived for His great name. We lived for His glory. And we wanted our lives to reveal Him. Come on, everybody in this room can live by that faith. And either you pursue that or you don't, time will tell. Come on, we're not trying to make it. We already have. I'm just so flipped out by the gospel. I'm trying to stay calm for you. This is my best. This is my best calm. And I'm 10 times more revved on the inside than you're seeing. This is my best calm. This is the best I'm going to do for you because I'm really on thin ice right now. Because I believe what I'm telling you. Come on, I've had plenty of opportunity to have my heart hurt and be angry and frustrated and overwhelmed. But I don't even know that stuff anymore. You can't do me wrong enough to get me to turn out wrong. I'm going to overcome that thing with good. I'm going to tone it down with kindness. I'm going to walk in love. Yeah. I am, because He modeled that for me. And nobody did Him right. Even His own men betrayed Him, said they'd die, and they still ran because they were overwhelmed by self and death, and they didn't understand that we'd have done the same thing. But He didn't change. He's my hero. He's my role model. He's not just my suffering Savior. He's my model for life. He showed me the way. Now I'm going to do a little more than sing to Him and pray to Him when things are tight. I'm going to give my life to Him so His life can be mine and I can express it. So when Jason says what he says, yeah, it makes you want to cry because you're humbled that He wants to live in you. And that there's change for every person. I do not have to be an angry man. I do not have to be self-centered. I do not have to be proud. I do not have to be judgmental. I choose to be those things because I believe they're normal, but I don't believe they're normal anymore. I believe they're deception because they never produce life. They never bring glory to His name. They just add to self. And it's a good way to self-destruct. Come on, man, before I knew Jesus, it was so easy to be pumped up in my own pride, my own opinions, my own arrogance, my own self-righteous life. And it was a lonely world, and you really didn't matter. Unless you benefited me, you mattered for that season. My I love you was never I love you. It was do you love me? What do you give me back? It was always I need you. That's why there's so much pain in relationships. Because rarely is it two people coming together out of the fullness and strength and fulfillment of their lives. They're always looking for something, whether they know it or not. They're always needing something from somebody. And then they put all their chips on that person, and that person lets them down, fails them, and breaks their heart. You cannot break my heart. Impossible. I promise you, I'm barely hanging on right now. See, because it's so real to me. You can't break my heart. My own wife can't break my heart. I didn't wake up for her to love me today. I woke up to be like Him. And that changes everything. Yes. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. A Christ-like one. That's what Christian means. It doesn't mean you go to a church. It means you're pursuing to be like Him. I'm a Christian. Man, I'm having trouble this morning. Can you? I'm barely holding on. I'm sorry, but I'm a Christian. Come on. See your sweatshirt? I love it. Look, that's my problem right there. He is wearing my problem. I'm not my own.
Yeah. Yep. Come on.
I didn't wake up for you to live for me. I didn't wake up for you to do me right. That means you can't break my heart. You can't do me wrong. I woke up to be like Him. I'm not my own. I realized a long time ago my biggest problem was that I was living for me. Everything was about me. My I love you was all about me. Everything I did was about me. Even when I did good, I just enjoyed the accolade, the appreciation, the thank you. Because if people didn't thank me, I was ticked and they didn't appreciate me. And I ain't going out of my way for you if you don't appreciate what I do. Come on! Who's ever talked like that, lived like that, felt like that, thought like that? Happens in the church. You serve in a ministry to get appreciated. Don't get appreciated, so you leave the church. Well, your motive was wrong in the first place. You weren't doing it for the Lord. You were doing it for yourself.
Come on.
Why? Because you have need in your life, because you're not fulfilled in Him. See, when you have need in your life, you're not fulfilled in Him. But I read it in my Bible, Ephesians 3, to know the love of Christ, to know the love of Christ. Not know, to know the love of Christ, which passes knowledge, is to be filled with all the fullness of God. Whew, that's my problem. I'm not my own. And I'm filled with the fullness of God, whatever that means. It just means there's no lack, there's no empty rooms, there's no occupancy, there's no vacancy. I'm fulfilled. Woo! That word means a house with no empty rooms. It means a town with no empty houses.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a town. Woo-hoo! God has an amazing development. You know what else it means? It means a ship so full of cargo that you couldn't find room to place one more box. That's what the word fullness means. No empty rooms. No vacancy. Big old no vacancy flashing over your board. Ain't nothing but Him moving in and occupying, because I'm fulfilled. Every room is filled. That's why my old wife doesn't owe me a thing. She can't break my heart. She can't change my mood. Oh, you don't realize how much your spouse is Lord over you sometimes. Deciding how you're doing and who you are and what you're doing. And then you get into that control manipulation game and you try to get each other to serve each other. Then we get reduced to psychology, 50-50, a lot of work. Give and take, you do for me, I do for you. None of that is the gospel, that's the earth. The gospel is I love you, and I've laid down my life to be one with you. And I will give of myself to bring out the best in who you are. That's the gospel. That's how He loves His church. That's how I'm going to love my woman. And she don't owe me a thing. You say, well, I don't believe that. I understand there's a lot of unbelief in the church. I'm really messing up this morning. Am I doing all right? Am I doing all right? I need a thumbs up, Jason. I feel like I'm messing up. It's your fault. I'm blaming it on somebody. Isn't that what Adam did? Did you eat that treat? Woman, you gave me. He couldn't take responsibility. Why? Because he became self-centered, self-protecting, self-defending, self-justified. Come on. Let's do more than just talk about Him. Let's just do more than be sentimental and sing about Him. Let's just do more than just now I lay me down to sleep and bless our food, Lord. Let's not just bow our head and pray when it's time to pray. Let's not just acknowledge Him more when we're in trouble. And let's understand He's Lord and King of all. King and Lord of all. And let's give ourselves to Him. I love you, Sharon. It's motivating me. And let's not be our own. It says you've been bought with a price. You're not your own. Ain't that something? That changes things if that's real. That changes my responses, my attitudes, my perspectives. Come on, if I'm not my own, then I can't just come up with my own feelings and say, well, I feel, well, they shouldn't have. Well, I just need time to get over it. No, you need to get over you. Because you are giving yourself permission to be whatever that is.
Yep.
But I know whatever that is isn't producing anything good. And all it's doing is giving you an excuse to not be like Him. And now you're way deceived. Because you were made from the beginning for His image.
Yes.
Honestly, if you believe the Bible, if you're a Bible-believing person, The Bible says the only reason man is on the planet is to be found in God's image. So if you're not pursuing His image, you're not living for why you're here. And all of a sudden you'll be found out that you're just pursuing your life. It never was your life. It was always His life in you. And two are one in Him. That's why suicide is probably the biggest tragic express deception on the planet, because people get tricked into taking something that's not even theirs. Well, it's my life. I'll do with it what I want. It never was your life from the beginning. It was His life in you.
That's right. Yeah.
Suicide, biggest deception. People get tricked into taking what's not theirs. And then they stop purpose and destiny and legacy and glory to His name. And take into their own hands what's not theirs. It's my life. I'll live it the way I want. All this fuss over abortion. Well, it's my body. I'll do with it. It's my decision. It just shows what the fall of man really is.
Yes.
It's self-centered delusion. Guys, it's the biggest problem on the planet. I'm not a politician, a philosopher. I don't have all these answers, but I know this. I know this is right. The problem on the earth is not politics. It's not racialism. It's not terrorism. The problem on the earth is that every day, people wake up every day and live for themselves when they're made for His image. And a bigger problem is people in the church incorporate Him into their life instead of Him becoming their life, and they wake up and live for what He can do for them instead of how He can make them more like Him. And all of a sudden we're needs-driven instead of spirit-led. And we're living for the moment instead of that day. And now we're only as good as things are going instead of as good as He is. And when we sing and shout and Jeff is freaking out, some of us are wondering why he's so excited, because if you lived my life, if you were in my shoes, if you had my trouble, if you knew what I've been through, and all of a sudden you're revealed, you're missing the whole point. You're making this thing all about you. And the whole time we're singing, it's all about Him. Come on, I know I'm preaching really good right now. I can feel it. I'm just done selling cheap. For 4 years in June, it'll be 24 years. I'm done selling cheap. I've been changed for a long time. Like, I didn't just get a hold of this. I've been living this. 24 years isn't no eternity, but it's long enough to know that you're onto something. I've been waking up this way for almost 4 years. Just waking up in love with God and free from me. It's a great feeling. You say, well, you don't live by feelings. Oh, we all have feelings. You just don't live by feelings. Feelings can be good when they're in God. It's a good feeling to wake up and be free from me. To not carry the care of me. Where do you think anxiety comes from? Where do you think fear comes from? Where do you think discouragement comes from? When you're thinking for you. You can't carry that weight. You were never created to live for you. It's a weight you cannot bear. When you're a Christian for you, and all your prayers are your circumstances, and the people that bother you, and the people you're worried about, and you're just driven all the time by life. And yet the giver of it is inside of you and wants to break out and shine. In the face of it all. They didn't appreciate Jesus. They shouted Him down. They were bickering in their minds. They were backbiting and backtalking all the time. He heard their thoughts and still didn't change. We ought to be glad we don't hear people's thoughts. We might not be able to handle it. Insecure. We just read a post and fall apart. I can't believe they posted that. What do people think? Ah, my life is over. Sorry. I'm trying to simulate a 13-year-old that's having a fallout. I'm not doing well, am I? I need help! Get up and help me! Is she 13? Help me, girl! You know another one? And the young people get criticized for this, but it's not just the young generation. I've learned it's everybody across the board. You got to guard your heart and your mindset for that. Whatever. It's like demonic. Whatever. pull that in the throne room. Jenny, stand before me. Whatever. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay. Go put all of heaven on hold with your whatever. It might have worked temporarily on the earth and controlled a few folks. But it ain't gonna fly in the end. See, we don't even realize this. God created man to love. And when man got separated from God, he got cut off from the source of love and became in need of love. Every one of us in this room was born into the need to be loved. And you're driven by that, whether you admit it or not. You need to be valued, appreciated, encouraged, supported. And we psychologically address it and try to do our best where everybody's concerned. And some people just don't have anything on that list going, and they crash and burn because they didn't have no support system. Well, what's the problem? The problem is that we were never created to be loved this way. We were created to love this way. And now it's all backwards. And now we're needs driven because we have no identity in ourselves. We only have identity in Him. Are you following me? Yeah. If God made man in His image and God is love, then He made man fulfilled in Him and made man to love. When man got cut off from love, he became in need of love, and we try to get that from each other, and it can only be restored through Him. Now when I become a Christian, I didn't become a Christian to go to heaven and catch a blessing and make sure I have guaranteed provision. I became a Christian so life could come back into me and the tables could get turned, and instead of being needs-driven, I'm fulfilled in Christ and I get restored back to love.
Amen. That's right.
Not needing it, being it. Now you just imagine in this room, if we all walked in scriptural love, taking no account of the wrong done to us. Why? Because it's not about you. It's about His great name. So you don't take account and a record of the wrong done against you as a person and individual, because you seek ye first the kingdom and you think for the kingdom, not yourself. And then no longer do you say, well, I can't believe they did that to me. Well, I just heard. Well, I trusted them. I can't trust anymore. I don't want people. I'm just buying a pet. I'm just going to buy a dog. Because he'll never hurt me. I'm just going to love my little dog. Oh, it's happening all the time. And then your dog is your God. I'm not saying it's wrong to have a dog. These guys have a dog. I'm not talking about your dogs. They love their own dog. I'm not saying it's wrong to have a dog. I'm saying your motive is what's wrong if that's your motive. If you're escaping the reality of pain in your life and dealing in truth, and so you're just going to cop out and buy a little dog because he'll never hurt you and just look at you always with those puppy eyes. And he can do no wrong, but now you can't trust people and you got all kind of walls around your life and don't ever let nobody in because you're tired of being hurt. Well, maybe people aren't your problem. Maybe your vulnerability is the problem. Maybe you need to deal with why are you always hurt? Because you're thinking for you and you have expectations on people whether they're spoken or not, and you're always set up to be failed. Hello? And when that happens, you're rendered unproductive and there's no influence coming out of your life concerning the kingdom, so you can't possibly walk in the light as He walks in the light, that you can go to church. And you can serve in a ministry. And you can actually believe Jesus is Lord and died on the cross, but you're not letting who He is decide you. So you actually live in discouragement and disheartenment and in hiding when you're called to be an open book. Do you think Jesus had walls up? That is hilarious. Where did we get these ideas? Probably hell. Probably hell. Did he just curse in church? No, I didn't. It's a real place, but more than a place, it's a mentality. And it's every man for himself, and it's self-seeking. Self-seeking is evil and wicked. It's disastrous. Unless the seed dies and falls to the ground, it's a lonely place. Self-seeking is Do you know how easy it is in today's American church to always just listen to messages that benefit ourselves, and we're Christians living in a self-seeking Christian world that really doesn't exist, we'll find out. Where all the messages are just beneficial and just bless me and serve me. And the more we preach it, the more people come to God. But then you have all these questions and quandaries and discouragements. And if God's good, then why'd they die? And if God's good, why the accident? And where was God when? Why'd I lose my job? And where's His protection? And where's His... And all of a sudden, He's our genie in a bottle, and He's not even our covenant Father.
Come on.
And all of a sudden, He's the meter of my needs. No, maybe your needs are wants, because they're deciding your disposition.
Yeah, that's good.
You guys get it?
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing better. Thanks, you prayed for me or something. I was in trouble. I was in trouble. When I talk about loving Him, my personal relationship with Him, it's hard. I fall out. I'm besides myself when I'm alone. You think I'm messed up when you see me? People criticize me sometimes. They say, well, he's just too emotional. You ain't never seen me alone. You couldn't handle it. I'm besides myself. Because how do you put it into words? How do you truly get loved by the God of the universe? Receive His love and have Him love on you, dote on you, hold you, and know, and be okay. See, I'm back on thin ice right now. How do you just close the door? How do you just close the door and know He's there? And He'll meet you there, and minister to your heart, and be okay. I've learned that a lot of people haven't put themselves in that place. They're sincere about God, but they try to serve God instead of know God. And a lot of people haven't slowed down enough to put themselves with Him. Some people don't even believe good enough about themselves to even try to be with Him. They get more self-conscious than God-conscious, so they can't be with Him because they don't think they're worthy, or they're aware of all their faults, and they take 20 minutes to pray about all their problems and all their shortcomings instead of just enjoy Him. Come on, I pastored for a while. I asked a ton of questions. I've learned that a majority of Christians have never initiated communion and conversation with God when they're all alone in the form of this. Father, thank you that you love me. I so appreciate that you value me. That you would put your Son on the cross and take His life on the cross to give me life in you. That is phenomenal. Thank you for loving me. And Christian after Christian will say, well, I never even thought that way, let alone speak that way. Can you imagine? I can't imagine living in Christ and not receiving His love freely and just thanking Him for how He sees me and what He's done through His Son in my life. Amen. Just driving in your car, Father, thank you that you see me as if I've never sinned. That you've actually cleansed me and washed me and made me pure in your sight, that I have access to your presence because you yourself invited me in. You want to live inside of me. That's phenomenal. I know countless Christians that have studied theology and done countless Bible studies and never got personal with the Lord. Yeah. When you get personal with the Lord, it's when your life changes. It's when your eyes get clear. It's when they go from here. It's when your eye goes from here to here. And all of a sudden, you just got a single eye. And all of a sudden, narrow is the way. But like the psalmist, see, he was on to something. When you go through that keyhole, confined is the way because it cost you yourself. You enter into communion. When you go through that keyhole, the psalmist says, He sets me in a broad place. I'm like in the broadest place I've ever been in my life, but narrow is the way. Did you get it? Like the freedom that I drive sometimes and I'm like, Lord, I hope people know blessing and can see blessing like I'm blessed right now. Like I feel like I'm the most loved person on the earth. I feel like so fulfilled, so free. When I'm all by myself, I weep and just trust that somebody's experiencing this revelation and not trying to be self-righteous in that. Just, it's your heart. You want everybody you love to experience the truth.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course, you get called self-righteous for talking like that. Who do you think you are? You are so high on yourself. No, is that right? I'm high on him. High on him. Myself? No, if I was high on myself, I'd have nothing to give you. I'm high on him. I'm sailing in him.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Lord.
He's in me. I love that. Man, if you don't believe he's in you, you don't have confidence standing at the gas pump. You don't even see the person on the other side of the pump if you don't think he's in you. You're just getting gas. But if you think he's in you, hey, how you doing over there?